Welcome to another product feedback video. I will be reviewing the Dell Studio XPS 1640 and I will be running through a whole list of advantages and disadvantages to the actual product. And please, I'm not going to make this into some sort of these are the cool features and things like that. I'm going to give you a proper devil's advocate sort of review to it, so you know exactly what you're buying and what you're spending your money on, because this isn't targeted at a mid-range sort of buyer. This is one of their premium models and they definitely charge a fair amount for it. Now first, from a build quality perspective, it's reasonable, okay? As you can see here, they use a barrel hinge, which means the screen is attached a lot stronger onto the actual base of the chassis of the actual notebook, which makes it a lot better in terms of being stronger and not tending to snap off or break like some of the older hinged systems. Now, the only disadvantage to this is that this is a premium laptop, so I would have expected the quality of the build, like the aluminium here and this to feel a lot stronger, but to me it feels a little bit cheap. It feels a little bit faked. That's what I think it is. And the other thing is, on the back of the actual notebook, Dell specifically advertised that this here is a leather finish, okay? Now, I haven't really looked into leather a lot, but I can tell you this leather here is, I think, one of the cheapest sort of leathers you can get. And the reason why I say that is, I mean, I've only had this notebook for about a month, and believe me, it's already starting to wear through, so you can start to see like underneath the leather. So I haven't really been taking it around with me a lot, and it's already starting to wear through. So a little bit cheap, not that great in terms of the build quality, but I mean, it's not awful, but it's not that best either. Now this notebook features an illuminated keyboard, as you can see here. Okay, fantastic. The keyboard layout is great. It's very easy to type with. You're not going to have any problems with that. What I did notice though is the touchpad is actually a little bit indented, so it's a very smooth tracking one. And if you install the latest drivers for it, it can be multi-touch, so you can use the zoom in, zoom out features and the different scrolling options, okay? The only thing that I noticed is these touch sensitive buttons up the top. The eject button doesn't always work, and this is a little bit of a hardware thing because I know they use different manufacturers with their slot drives, but if you press it, it makes a lot of noise. Okay, just to show you, I'll put in a blank disc and you can have a listen to the sound. See, it sounds like it's going to break. It's not, yeah, the quality of the build isn't there, and that's a little bit of an annoying fact. And it is really, really loud. And I'll just eject that. Hopefully it will eject it as well. Okay, eject. Eject. See, it doesn't do it. It doesn't really work that well. Now, there is something really, really good about this notebook, and was one of the main reasons I decided to purchase it. Now, when you work on a low or not really large size screen, you want something that's really high res. Now, this is a 1920 by 1080 screen, which means the picture quality on there is extremely good, okay? Now, not only that, but depending on what upgrade you choose, you can choose whether it to be in just a normal LED backlit or an RGB LED backlit. Okay, now I've chosen to spend a little bit extra and go for the RGB LED backlit screen, and I can tell you it's definitely money well spent because the contrast and the picture quality is brilliant. Like, I have never seen a notebook with better picture quality, and I've had friends who put their notebooks next to mine and just, you couldn't even compare the difference, how different they actually looked, because it was huge. So it's definitely a fantastic screen, and the viewing angle, you know, you can sit up, down, however, and you can still view it. It's just sometimes when you push it back, it starts to fade a little bit, but I mean, it's still awesome. And also on the actual notebook itself, it uses something called a dual array microphone. And they're up the top there where the webcam is, and it's a really, really good microphone. So if you're talking on Skype and things like that, people will come out and hear you extremely, extremely well. Alright, also this notebook comes with a sort of stereo setup and a subwoofer underneath in terms of the sound. Now, this is the best sounding notebook I've ever heard. The sound is brilliant. It absolutely kills off the competition. I have never heard a better sounding notebook. So if you want something that you can listen to movies and anything like that, music, whatever you want to do, you're not going to be disappointed. I was using this for games, as you can see in my in one of my other videos with the Call of Duty Modern Warfare Part 3 of this review, and it sounds awesome. It's brilliant. Can't complain. It's fantastic. But also, just while we're at this sort of position, this flashing buttons here, this is just another thing with the build quality. Like, it doesn't even sit flush, and yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. And also, while we're at it, I know this is to do with the screen again, but that's actually my third replacement screen. Dead pixels. I've had about 4, 2, 1, and now this one's still got 1, but I can't be bothered getting it fixed. Dell's got a good service. They came out to my place, fixed it the next day, but I mean, come on. You know, you're paying a lot of money for this screen. You expect it to at least have no dead pixels. Okay, this is the most important bit, and this is to do with the heating issue. Okay, now you might be wondering, why do I have this piece of fabric here? This is just to cover up my license key and things like that for the actual computer. Now, on the bottom of the notebook, first off, before we get into just the heating really quickly, it's just they use these rubber grips. These are really, really strong because they actually go through the whole chassis and they're screwed on inside, so they're not going to come off, which is just a sort of a quick advantage I was going to say. And also on the battery, just if you can see that, it shows you how much battery there is just by pressing one of those buttons. Okay. But for a heating problem, there is definitely a heating issue here. Okay, it's not excessive, but it is definitely warm, and you can't really have it sitting on your lap for longer than half an hour. Okay, this section of the notebook is cool. This section of the notebook is cool. Here, excessive amount of heat. Now, if I put my hand on here, it's warm, and I can tell you, you can't have it sitting, like I said, on your lap longer than about 20 to half an hour, something like that, because it does get extremely hot. Now, if you have it on a desk, you don't notice it as much, but if you're sitting on a lap, like I said, it gets extremely warm. Something else I'm just going to have to add in really quickly. This is the power pack for the laptop. Look, if you want to start a fire, you use this, because this thing here is hot, like ouch, as in terms of the heat that it outputs. So you don't really want to have this sitting on something, because it is really, 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 really warm. Now you might be wondering, what impact does this have on the actual, when you're sitting there and using it? If you have your hands like this and typing, okay, you don't notice it that much. You can feel it being a little bit warm, but you know, that's just kind of a standard heat for a notebook. But as soon as you put your hand here, I can tell you it is significantly warm. So, and if you're running games and things like that, it won't overheat to the fact where the games start jamming up and things like this. I've had it happen maybe once, but I mean, it was like 40 degrees outside, and in my room was 30 degrees. So this is Celsius for you Americans. If you want a notebook which is going to be able to run games, render videos, and be an extremely quick computer for multitasking, then I'd recommend it. If you're a person who really wants to have it on your lap, then I would not suggest it, because the heating problem is a big problem and it will be definitely noticeable. Apart from that, in every other perspective, apart from the heating issue, I think it's brilliant. I mean, it's one of the best notebooks I've used. The performance is great. The illuminated keyboard's fantastic. The sound quality is fantastic. The screen's fantastic. The webcam even is pretty good. The leather's a little bit cheap on the back. I think it's just sort of a cheapy add-on, more gimmick than anything. So, look, if you enjoyed that review, I want you to go and hit the yellow button on the right-hand side or on the bottom, which says subscribe, because the more subscribers I get, the more reviews I'll be able to give out to everybody. And I will also appreciate if you favourite and comment and ask any questions you have, whether it be for this laptop or for another laptop. I'll be more than willing to help you decide which way to go. And yeah, enjoy and have a good day.
Don't forget to subscribe for all the latest product feedback, videos and reviews.